In a world shaped by natural wonders, few forces rival the sheer magnitude and awe-inspiring power of supervolcanoes. But what sets these beasts apart from the typical volcanoes we know? Supervolcanoes are titans among volcanoes, capable of eruptions thousands of times more powerful than their smaller counterparts. Unlike regular volcanoes that form conical shapes, supervolcanoes boast immense magma chambers hidden beneath vast calderas. When they erupt, they don't just spew lava and ash. They unleash colossal amounts of molten rock, ash, and gases, reaching tens of thousands of times the volume of a typical eruption. The aftermath of a supervolcanic eruption is staggering. It can trigger global climate shifts, blanketing skies with ash, altering weather patterns, and potentially plunging the planet into a volcanic winter. These titans have left their mark throughout history, carving out massive calderas and leaving geological footprints that astound scientists to this day. Currently in our world, there are approximately 20 supervolcanoes, and unlike their counterparts, they don't erupt so often. On average, these eruptions occur at intervals ranging from tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands of years. The most recent supervolcanic eruption occurred about 26,500 years ago at the Taupo volcano in New Zealand. The initial eruptions would cause immediate devastation in the surrounding areas. Massive amounts of ash, gas, and lava would be ejected. The sound produced by the eruption is so immense it can be heard over vast distances, potentially reaching volumes that could cause temporary or even permanent hearing damage to people within a certain radius of the eruption. The eruption would blanket nearby areas with a thick layer of ash, smothering vegetation, collapsing structures, and making the environment uninhabitable. The massive amount of ash could cause roofs to collapse under its weight, disrupt transportation systems, and damage machinery and electronics. Authorities would likely issue evacuation orders for surrounding areas, but evacuating large populations quickly and safely would be extremely challenging. The sheer scale and intensity of these eruptions would overwhelm emergency response systems and infrastructure. The fallout of ash and debris from simultaneous supervolcano eruptions would be one of the most far-reaching and impactful consequences. The eruptions would release colossal amounts of ash into the atmosphere. This ash, composed of pulverized rock, minerals, and volcanic glass, would form a dense cloud that could spread across vast distances, carried by wind currents. The cloud would obscure sunlight and create widespread darkness in the affected regions. Over time, this ash could encircle the planet, affecting climates and ecosystems far beyond the eruption zones. The ash cloud's ability to block sunlight would lead to a significant cooling effect on the Earth's surface. This phenomenon is known as a volcanic winter. The reduced sunlight would cause temperature drops, affecting agriculture and ecosystems, potentially leading to crop failures and widespread food shortages. The impact on agriculture, coupled with disrupted transportation due to ash-covered roads and airports, would severely disrupt economies locally and globally. Trade routes could be affected, causing shortages of essential goods and commodities. Breathing in volcanic ash particles can be hazardous to human health, causing respiratory issues, eye irritation, and exacerbating pre-existing respiratory conditions. The fine particles can remain suspended in the air for extended periods, affecting air quality far from the eruption sites. The survival and recovery of humanity after simultaneous supervolcano eruptions would be an immense challenge, but it's likely that humanity would endure and eventually rebuild. Evacuation and relocation efforts would aim to save as many lives as possible, but the immediate aftermath would be incredibly difficult. Those in less affected regions might provide aid and shelter to displaced populations. Human resilience would come into play. Communities and individuals would adapt to the new reality, creating temporary shelters, establishing food sources through hunting, fishing, and foraging, and finding ways to purify water and ensure basic hygiene. Reconstruction efforts would begin once the immediate dangers have subsided. Rebuilding infrastructure, restoring essential services like electricity, water, and sanitation, and creating sustainable living conditions would be long-term endeavors requiring significant resources and coordination. While the immediate aftermath would be devastating, humanity's ability to adapt, innovate, and collaborate might ultimately lead to the gradual restoration of affected regions. However, the long-term impacts on ecosystems, climate, and global stability would persist for years, if not decades.